AI can do so many useful things that can help you with your business, content creation, or your job. In this video, I'm going to go over 50 different creative AI use cases that I use every single week. My name's Riley Brown, and I have a startup here in San Francisco. We do well over 7 figures per year. I also have 1.5 million followers across all my channels on social media, and AI is a huge reason for this. We're going to talk about voice models, we're going to talk about image models, video models, we're going to talk about music, sound effects. And if you guys like videos like these, I make them multiple times per week talking about creative ways to use AI. So make sure to hit that subscribe and like button. Let's not waste any more time. Let's dive into the video. So the first use case of AI that we'll talk about, that I guarantee you've heard about it, is you can chat with AI. I can say, give me an idea quickly of what I can make a video about. And AI can actually chat with me, and it can help me with basically any question I can come up with. And here it thought a little bit, and now it's giving me a bunch of different ideas. And the next thing that you can do, which makes chatting with an AI much better, is you can actually use memory. I'm going to say use memory of our past conversations to come up with specific ideas just for me. And now the AI will actually use memory. It'll look at recent chats. And as you can see here, it actually went through all my previous chats and came up with some ideas. And now these are tailored to me. And so these are based off of our previous chats that we have, and this is extremely useful. And by the way, this is Claude, and I use this instead of ChatGPT, but you can also do this with ChatGPT. These are very similar tools. I just think Claude is more for power users, which I really like. The next thing that you can do with AI is you can chat with AI with web search. And you'll notice here, if you hit this tools button right here, you can turn on this research feature, which is actually extended research. This is deep research, which is different than just web search. But you can also do a basic web search, which is like search the internet and look at Matt Wolf's recent videos and things he's talked about and come up with ideas for videos that I would also be good at making. And so now it's actually going to do, it should in theory do multiple things. It should use memory, and then it should also search the internet. And you can see here right now it's using tools, which is search the web, and it will now think and then give me an answer. And as you can see here, it's giving us a response after it searched the internet. And you can see here it searched all over the internet. It didn't just go to YouTube. It went to all these different sites, looked at what Matt Wolf was talking about, and then it did some additional thinking. You can see what it thought about this process, and then it gave us this answer. The next thing that you can do is you can actually chat with an AI, and you can have it write in a specific style. So you'll notice here, if we come down to this search and tools, we can actually go use style. Here we can create a new style, we can add a custom style, and we can add a writing example. I'm going to paste in text, and I'm going to say, this is an intro to a previous video intro I did. And I can just paste it right here, and I can hit create style. And now it's analyzing the writing. And there you go, Hype Educator was added to custom styles. So I'm going to pause right here because I think this feature in Claude is really bad. And the better way to do it is just to create a project. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit new project, and I'm going to call this intro style writing. And I'm going to create this project. And instead of adding it in a custom style, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the instructions. Now I'm going to paste in that intro, and I'm going to say, this is an intro to a video I did previously. Please, when asked to write an intro, use this style. Don't use any of the subject matter, just use this style. And I'll get to that voice feature I just did in just 1 second. And I'm just going to go intro script. And this is much better than the style feature. And now we can save these instructions. And I'm going to say, please write an intro to a video about 20 use cases for perplexity, right? In the style of the instructions. You actually don't need to do that. I'm just showing it for illustrative purposes, and we are using Opus 4.5. Okay, here it goes. And here it says, I've been using Perplexity for a while now, and it's easily the best AI search engine in the world. And it's best when you actually know how to use it properly. This is the most powerful research tool in the world, and you can use it to replace Google, ChatGPT, and even expensive research assistants. You can use it for work, you can use it for school, etc., etc. This is pretty good. And as you can see here, this is the intro that it's pulling from. This is where I copied it from, and it is very similar in style. And so that is a really good way to have it right in your style. And I just think it's significantly better than using this style feature. I don't think it's very good. I think creating a project is much better. Okay, so the fifth use case of AI is speech to text is awesome. As you can see there, we can use speech to text. I can say, okay, this is amazing, please write the next paragraph. And as you can see here, now I'm using this speech to text feature with a tool called Whispr Flow, and they have a really generous free plan that you can use right now. And we can just use this while doing any of these. And all I use is speech to text. I hardly ever use my keyboard anymore, except for when I'm making content like this. I'm just constantly talking into my computer. And I actually have grown to really love it with using it with Excalidraw. So I'm just going to add this as a use case. Speech to text with diagramming. And once you learn these keyboard shortcuts, it's really fun to just you can add arrows, right? You can duplicate this. There's a lot of use cases for this. Educational purposes like making videos, creating diagrams for social media. And it's really fun that you can just kind of use this with your voice, and I highly recommend it. So that's use case number 6. And so this diagramming tool is called Excalidraw, and if you watch my videos, you know that I use it for almost every video. It's just my favorite. I love the font that Excalidraw uses by default, and it's just really easy to use, especially once you understand all of these different keyboard shortcuts, which allows you to use all the features. Another use case is text to diagram using Excalidraw as well here. And so I can copy these 20 use cases of Perplexity, and we can actually go to Excalidraw, and then we can hover over this right here. We can go text to diagram, and I can paste in a prompt, and I'm just going to paste this in, 20 use cases for Perplexity. And then once we've pasted this in, we can just press generate, and you'll see here that it will actually create a diagram chart, and you can insert this directly into your diagram here. Just a reminder that you can actually specify how you want to make it. So I'm going to say make a simple mind map, and we can hit generate, and this will actually create a simpler diagram. And look at this, you can insert this directly into your app, as you can see right here. It just created this different type of mind map. And a reminder, you can continue to write on the chart. And so this is a really cool way to quickly get visualizations using Excalidraw. Okay, so now we're going to move to something a little bit more advanced, and we're going to be using Gemini 3 within Warp. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open up Warp, and we're going to create a new window. And so we can actually create really high quality games with Gemini 3 within Warp. So once you've opened and signed up to Warp, you can go to Gemini 3 Pro, and you can see it shows the model specs, which I think is really cool. And now we can type whatever idea that we have. And so what we could do is we can say create a fun 2D game that looks like Pokemon. And I'm going to say use 3JS, which is just kind of a game engine, a simple game engine that you can use to create a web app. And we can just type this into Warp using Gemini 3 Pro, and we can press enter. And the cool thing about Warp is we can create multiple things at once. Here we're creating a fun simulation for a water cycle using 3JS. We're going to run that. Whoops, I typed that in. I did it on the wrong setting. We are using the agent mode. We need to be using agent mode. There we go. And here we're also creating a fun landing page for my pizza shop called Riley's Shop. And so I want to choose Gemini 3 Pro again because it's the best at visual things like landing pages, simulations, and games. So we're going to run this, and these are all being created right now in Warp at the same time, and we can switch between the two. Okay, if I run this command, yes, run. And it gives you a lot of control, and you're able to kind of steer the agent into creating the app. And if you don't know where we're going, you're like, oh, this looks like a terminal. Don't worry, it's not as hard as it looks. We're just going to allow everything, and I'm going to show you exactly how we can run this in our browser so we can actually play the game simulation and see the landing page. Okay, so here we go. This is the Pokemon one. We see that the server's now running on localhost 8001. I can click on it, And here we go. We have this little 3D game. It didn't create a character for the game, but you can see here, I'm running into the walls. I can't go past it. It created like one single room that we can move around in. Okay, so now this fun simulation for the water cycle is running on 8002. So I can type in localhost 8002 and wow, look at this. So we can see evaporation and we can change the sensitivity. Oh my God, this is actually crazy. And now our landing page is running on 8003. So we can change this to 8003 and boom. We have Riley's shop, and look at this cool landing page created on Warp with Gemini 3. And yeah, so that's just 3 different types of apps that we can create with AI. If you want to try this out, you can go to warp.dev and download Warp. And so in spirit of Gemini 3 being the most visual model, Google released another model that's very visual, that's actually an image model that allows you to generate images with AI. So that's exactly what I'm going to show you right now. And so if we go to gemini.google.com, we can select this image feature, right? We can go to tools and hit create image, and we can type in rubber duck. And as you can see here, we can just generate an image of a duck. And then it will load for a little bit, and boom, the duck is now done. And the thing is, the next thing that you can do is we can edit an image with AI. We can say, please make the duck on a lake made of chocolate syrup and make floating marshmallows. And I'm going to get to really practical use cases with images in just a second, don't worry. And so we can enter this in and it will actually edit that image that we just created. And it's done. As you can see here, it took this exact duck. It didn't change anything about the duck, except it put it on chocolate syrup and added marshmallows. The next thing that you can do is you can actually replace any character on any YouTube thumbnail. So I'm going to go to this YouTube thumbnail link.
There are
this
a bunch
is a link
of
to a YouTube video. I can copy this link and we can just go to Google and we can type in get YouTube thumbnail from URL. And we can go like this. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to paste in that link and boom. Now we can copy this image right here. We can just copy it. We can go back to Gemini. We can paste this in and we can say, okay, I want you to replace the guy in the thumbnail with this guy here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Twitter. I'm going to go to my Twitter. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to my profile, click on my profile, copy, and we're going to go back to Gemini. We're going to paste it in. Keep everything the same except switch the guy, and now we can run it. And so what we're doing here, and I'm going to just add this in as a second one, is we are generating images with reference images. And we're doing this with multiple, right? You can do this with up to like 14 reference images. And so it'll know to look at this image, it'll take this image and it will place me into this YouTube thumbnail. And this is not my favorite way to use Gemini, and I'll talk about this in a second, this nano banana, because as you can see here, it made it a square. And we can say, please try again, make it horizontal orientation. And there are way better ways to use nano banana than in Gemini, and we're going to get there in just a second. And there you go. And you can see here that it created this with me. This is not quite as good. Like this fills up more of the space, and this just isn't quite as good. And there is a very simple fix for this. And the tool that I'm going to show you right now is Krea, which is my favorite AI image tool because it gives you access to all models. And I'll show you exactly what I mean right here, including video, which we'll get to in just a second. So here we are on Krea.ai/app, and I'm going to go straight to this edit field right here. And this will actually allow me to upload this original image right here, and we can begin editing this. We're going to switch this to the Nano Banana Pro, and this will allow us to use reference images, very similar to previous. We can upload an image. I'm going to use this one right here, the same one that we did earlier, and we're going to update that image. Please replace the guy with this guy. Don't put his hands on his face and give him an orange shirt. When you use the edit feature within Krea, it will maintain the aspect ratio here. We do not want it to change the aspect ratio. We want it to stay the same size. We just want it to replace. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I can generate 4. And so now 4 are generating, as you can see right here. Okay, so it's done, and it went from this to this. Look at that. It perfectly added me. This is my YouTube or my Twitter profile picture, and it replaced it on this image, and it became this, and it gave us 4 options, and we can choose from the best one. I think this one might be the best one. And then we can actually begin editing this even more. So if we select this one right here, whatever we type here, it'll be replaced. So I can remove the reference image, and now we can edit text with AI. And then when editing these thumbnails, what I do when I only want to edit the text is I'll say change nothing except the text, make it say the best, and then I'll put parentheses with yellow background because that's what I want to put in the top. And then what I want to do is I want to say, and then vibe coder, and then parentheses white text. And now what we're going to do is we're going to generate it. And it's done. As you can see here, it went from this to this. So the best vibe coder. So it shows design 10K MRR app to the best vibe coder. And we can switch from these, and there you go. We have these 4 options. We can perfectly manipulate the text. And now we can also edit objects with AI. And we're going to use Nano Banana once again. And so we can select this one that we like the most. And we can say, change only the 3 phones to something else. I want you to change the 3 phones to a cinematic picture of a computer showing a very high quality landing page. Make it pretty big. So it should be directly under vibe coder, and the arrow should stay there, and it should take up a majority of that bottom left part of the image or the left side of this thumbnail, and it should kind of be the central focus of this thumbnail, but you're changing nothing except getting rid of the phones and adding a big computer there. And the cool thing about Nano Banana Pro is there is a reasoning model under the hood. So you can speak to it very much like natural language. Like you don't even really need to think about prompting. You can just press generate and it will go to work. And so it went from this to this. I mean, come on. That is actually pretty insane. And we have this, not as good. This is okay. But I mean, this is very solid. And you can actually also edit lighting with AI. And so we can say, please add a shadow, a white glowing shadow, parentheses, not too intense, behind the character and the computer monitor. Make it cinematic and optimized for a YouTube thumbnail. You literally don't need to know how to mask anymore. You can literally just prompt, and it's like having Photoshop directly in an AI model, which is truly insane. And so it's done, and it went from this to this. I mean, come on. Like, that is actually just, I mean, it blows my mind. The 19th thing that you can do with AI is you can in-paint with AI, and we're going to be using Ideogram. And so I've switched the model to Ideogram, and we actually have more options here. There's a lot of different things that you can do here. What I want to do is I want to actually select the exact portion of the object. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the brush feature, and so we can select the part of the image that we want to change, and we can just select all of this right here, and we can say make his shirt brown, make it a turtleneck that says Riley, and we can generate 4 edits, and it will only edit that portion that was masked. And it is done. So it went from this to this. I don't know why this added a little computer in the background. There we go. This changed the turtleneck and it added Riley. So if you want absolute precision, you can actually use the in-painting feature. And so while we're still on Krea, I want to talk about one thing that I just think is really fun. I don't really know too many practical use cases for it, but this is real-time image. So the prompt here is 3 baseballs flying through the air, pixel art. And you can see here the image on the left is real-time image. And so we can show it. And so like it doesn't really know what to do with this blue square, which we can change. Like we can make this taller. 3 pink, we can say 3 pink baseballs flying through the air towards a giant swimming pool. And you can see here, I think if we just change it like this, so now it's changing to a pool, and I can type in splash. And so it adds this little splash, but I think that if we throw a baseball, maybe it'll splash. Look at that. And so when we change it, look at this. It's so fascinating. Honestly, like look at this. And if we were to just change baseballs to blimps, look at this. So now they're blimps flying through the air, splashing. It's very interesting. Now we could change the 3 blimps to pink snowman. And here we have this snowman flying through the air. And we can select all of these. And now we can have this snowman flying through the air. This one is just more of entertainment. If you could get these to stay consistent, it could be really funny, actually. I mean, there has to be some fun use cases. I mean, this is just insane. That's just hilarious. The next thing that you can do is you can enhance images with AI. And so once we find the best vibe coder thumbnail that we want to download, we can press the download button. Now we're going to go up to enhance right up here. We're going to hit upload. We're going to upload that thing that I just downloaded right there. And we can upload this just like this. And here we see the image. Here it says enhance to start. I want to select the model. Here is Krea Enhance. I actually like to use Topaz. I think it's really good. And so we're going to 2x the size of it. You can go all the way up to 16x, which is just too much for a YouTube thumbnail. What we're trying to do is we're trying to get it crisp and very clear, and we can just hit enhance. And you can mess with the sharpness as well. Okay, while that was loading, I actually switched to the other one, which is Topaz Generative, and I used smooth out the skin as the prompt. And so this is what it looked like before, right? My skin is a little bit weird. Like it's actually pretty weird, and it's noticeably weird. And after that, this is what it looked like after. I actually haven't used this Topaz creative model yet, but I 100% am going to start using it. Look at, it's just kind of glossier. The yellow's glossier. The vibe coder, it didn't really change anything. Look, this character right here is a lot more smooth. The text is clearer. It's significantly better. Look at how blurry the text is. And then after the fact, boom. Now you can kind of read it a little bit better. And the skin is just so much better. So we're going to stay with Krea for number 22. We're going to generate an image for the first frame, and then we're going to use it for a video. So then the 23 will naturally be create video from first frame. And I'll explain what this means in just a second. So if we go to the image, to generate image, we're going to use Nano Banana Pro. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use an image prompt. So I'm going to go ahead and upload the photo of my co-founder just to show you what he looks like. If I go into Finder, this is my co-founder right here. And we can say, man outside in the grass in a white tank top and blue jeans. And so we can change the aspect ratio to, let's go ahead and do 3:2. And we're going to go ahead and generate this. And since we're in the Generate tab, we can actually generate as many of them as we want in a row. So we can create many images. And so I'm just going to go and just put like many. As you can see here, these images have come in. So we can select one of these images of my co-founder. We can download this. And now we can go to the Video tab. And we're going to click on VO 3.1, which is Google's model. And I'm going to make sure we write this down. We're using VO 3.1, and again, this is, in my opinion, the best video model in the world. And we're going to be using a start frame. So we're going to upload this image as a start frame. Man sitting outside, relaxing music playing in the background. Zoom in on man. He says, "Hey there. My name is Anj. Welcome to my universe." And so what we can do here is we can generate a video here. And we can actually generate many of these videos very similarly. And videos, remember, they do take a lot longer than images. So I'm going to pause the video right now and we'll wait for it to be done. Okay, so it's done. Let's go ahead and listen.
Hey there, my name is Ansh. Welcome to my universe.
It gave him such a strong accent.
Hey there, my name is Ansh. Welcome to my universe.
And we can download this very, very easily. Okay, so what if we actually wanted more control over this image, like over the whole video? And so remember, we started with this image right here. Imagine if we wanted to start with this image right here. So that's our starting image, which we've already talked about. If you wanted more control, what you need to do is you need to generate an end frame image and then generate a video from start and end frame. And I'll explain this more as I go through it, but we just downloaded this as a start frame. And so what we need to do is we actually just need to drag this into the image prompt. And we need to make sure we're using the same aspect ratio, and we are going to use Nano Banana Pro. And we're going to say, change nothing except make the man waving and zoom in a little bit. And have a person running in the background on the right side of him in the distance. So imagine that's what we want to have happen, because we're going to start with this frame just like we did in the last video, but we can actually choose the end frame, which is very cool. So I'm going to generate a bunch of these here, and we can just hit generate, 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 and generate. All right, this looks fantastic. We see the person running and zoomed in a little bit. We can download this. Now, if we go back to the video tab, and we can upload a start frame, which will be this image right here. We can upload an end frame, which is the frame that the video will end on. And we can just say, nice zoom in shot, sound of nature playing softly. And then we can say man waves, and we can generate this video. And we can generate multiple variations. And here I accidentally used the wrong model. I do want to make sure we use VO 3.1. So now we have the model 1 loading right now. And this will actually be much faster. As you can see here, it's kind of generating. You can see the diffusion. It looks pretty cool and interesting. It's much faster. The 3.1 takes a lot more time. And there we go. You can see him. Let's see how this looks. And what we're hoping for is for him to wave, and we want the person who is jogging by. Remember, we added a person jogging in the background. I don't even think we included it in the prompt, but since we're using that final frame, we should see a person start to jog by. It's not going to fully jog by because the end frame is right here. If we wanted it to start running earlier, we would have put the end frame with a guy jogging here. We probably would have added to the prompt, man runs behind him, or mentioned that he's running all the way from the other side. But here, let's see how this turns out.
It's so beautiful out here today.
And there you go. You see this guy, he starts to run right here. That is pretty good. And anyway, so that kind of concludes part 1, the first 25 of this video. And now we're going to move on to part 2, and we're going to start diving deeper into more creative use cases, especially around the concept of vibe coding and prompt engineering. Okay, so you remember earlier how we were using chat with ChatGPT or Claude. You can use either ChatGPT or Claude. In this video, we're using Claude. I just use it a lot more often. And you can chat with an AI. And the thing about Claude AI, which is the normal desktop app, I use it. You can also use it in the web. I use it in the desktop. And this chat experience is optimized for talking to a wide variety of people. What the platform.claude.com is this is basically the raw model. And you can actually create your own system prompt. And I can say something like, you are going to act as a journalist. And here you can basically just come up with whatever system prompt you want to use. And the thing is Claude by default is really good at system prompts. And so you can just use the normal Claude.ai to help you come up with a good system prompt. So I want a good system prompt for when I want something to be broken down very simply in first principles. And so here is a very concise first principles thinker prompt. And so once this is done generating, we can actually copy this. And what we can do is we can take it over to the console. We can paste this in right here. Let me see, copy. We should be able to just paste this in right here. And now what we can do is we can actually use this. So we can type in what the user would say. So we're going to get a response here once we press run. So once we press run, we're going to get a response. Explain to me the economy. And now when we run this, this will actually give us a response here, and it is using this system prompt. And I actually really like this. At its core, the economy is a system for decoding how to use scarce resources. We have limited time, materials, labor, and land, but we have unlimited wants. The economy is how we resolve that tension. And here it gives us a really good answer in the exact format that we want. And you can constantly tweak this, right? So here we generated system prompt with AI. Then we used the system prompt in console, right? And for this, we're using console Anthropic. You can look that up on Google. And now what we're going to do is we're going to tweak the system prompt until we like it. And maybe we want to say at the beginning of your response, give a short welcoming message and bring up that your name is Prince for first principles. I don't know. And so then we can run this same prompt again, right? We did not change anything except for we added that. It says, welcome, I'm Prince for first principles. Let's strip this down to bedrock and build it back up. And so there you go. Now, so basically we tweaked the system prompt until we liked it. Now we can reuse this system prompt in own application. And so what we could do here is if we were to actually get this code right here, we can actually copy this code. And so this code that we just copied, I pasted it here for now. This code will actually allow us to vibe code or build an app with AI that will use this prompt. And so when we're prompt engineering, we're basically creating the personality, the intellect, and the style of the AI that you're going to chat with. And we can very easily get this code, and we're going to give this to an AI model in just a second to create an app that allows us to chat with AI in this, basically with the same exact AI right here. And we're going to come back to this in just 1 second. And so before we start to actually build an app, I do want to go over some more creative use cases with AI. I want to talk about sound generation. And so the first one is text to speech. And so we can actually create text to speech. And so we can say, hello there, friends. My name is Riley Brown, and I am here ready to have fun. And so what I can actually do, let me see what account I'm signed into. I can actually change the voice to something that I really like. And I can actually create my own voice if I wanted to do so. So here's one that I've created for myself. So one that I actually did was I did a train own voice. And if you just type in quick AI avatar voice on 11 Labs, you can upload an audio file of yourself talking. It only needs to be about a minute long, and it can train a voice just like this. The years teach much, which the days never know. And so I can actually select my voice right here, and we can generate the speech. And so it's done generating, and I typed this in. Hello there, friends. My name is Riley Brown, and I'm ready to have fun. Let's see what it sounds like.
Hello there, friends. My name is Riley Brown, and I am here ready to have fun.
And there you go. It sounds a lot like me, and it is very easy to download. And I think it actually did 2 generations.
Hello there, friends. My name is
Ooh, that one is not that good, and I can very easily download this right here. If we go to the next use case, which is voice changing, we can upload an audio file. And so this audio file, we can upload the audio right here. We can play it.
Hello there, friends. My name is Riley.
And here we can change the voice. And now I'm going to change it to my co-founder. Remember Anj from earlier?
Origami is the gentle art of folding wonders.
And so I can select the Anj voice, and I can generate speech. And it will turn what I said here into Anj's.
Hello there, friends. My name is Riley Brown, and I am here ready to have fun.
And so it doesn't sound like Anj because it didn't speak in the way he speaks, because I enunciate my words a lot. And I don't have the same accent Anj has, but it does have the same voice.
Hello there, friends. My name is Riley Brown, and I am here ready to have fun.
And it
Hello there, friends.
Sounds a lot more like Anj. And so that is voice changing. Another thing that you can do with AI is you can generate sound effects. So we can just say, windy day outside near the ocean. And I always like to turn this up. I'm going to turn this to, prompt influence thing up to 80. And so I'm going to go ahead and run this. And it's done. And for whatever reason, they're all 1 second. So I'll show you how to change that in just a second. But if you listen, I want this to be a lot longer. So I'm going to change this to be, let's go 8 seconds. And I'm just going to change this to relaxing sound of the ocean on a summer day. A few people talking in the background. And so I'm going to go ahead and run this again. And so these are done. You can see here, these were 8 seconds long. And so we can listen to them. Let's go ahead and turn it down a bit. And this is pretty cool. And again, you can very easily download these. If you want to save it for later, you can favorite them. It is very easy to generate sound effects. And next, we have Voice Isolator. And so if I had an audio file that had a lot of background noise and I wanted to just isolate the voice, this is where I would drop the files. And since I don't have a good file for this, I'll just kind of explain it real quick right here. But normally, if you record your voice, maybe you record it outside, you would have voice plus the background. And very simply, the isolator model will analyze this entire track. So it'll analyze this track right here with the voice and background, and then it will generate a new thing, right? It'll generate a new version of it, and it will just be the voice. It'll get rid of the background, and it is really good. And so this is really useful for video editing, I've found, and I think it's probably the best one in the world. And the final one in the 11 Labs segment here is music generation. And so one thing that you can do with 11 Labs is you can generate music. And so if you go to the music tab, you can say dope hip hop beat man rapping about how sick AI models are, diffusion, and LLMs. And so we can generate songs. And so what's really cool about this is the first public AI music model that actually has an API. So you can integrate it into your own applications, which is really fun. And we're about to get to the vibe coding use cases in just a second. Here, let's listen.
Yeah, check the mic, 1, 2. We talking about the future right here. Let's get it. Yo, first they gave us the language, now it's thinking on its own. Large language models on a digital throne. Type of prompt, watch the magic unfold. Spitting out stories brave and bold. From a single sentence, it's a universe expanding. This ain't science fiction, this the new world we landing in.
Anyway, yeah, you can just generate songs on 11 Labs. I will say 11 Labs is a little bit worse. Actually, it's significantly worse than Suno. So we could say, I just want to come up with inspiration. What is that? Haunting choir of a song about how AI models are getting too good and will put humans out of work. And so we can create songs on Suno just like this. And here we're generating 6 songs right here. And this is the best music model in the world. In fact, I'm going to put this as its own category, high quality music gen with Suno. And we can just give this a listen.
Silicon Ghost, they're taking the stage.
as you can see, it generates songs and it has really good melodies, really good background music. You can generate this, so we can generate high generated music with lyrics, or another one that we can do is we can create something like a movie score. So this is like an instrumental, and what we can do here is we can select instrumental and we can do organ, intense, music, rising, movie, score. Let's do tension is high, great scene in the movie. And you can generate things, and this is actually really good. In my opinion, this is like really good for video editing. And I use this a lot for short form video. So I'll make TikToks and I will use these instrumentals in the background. And anyway, yeah, I was kind of locked in for that because it is very cinematic. And again, I don't even know if these were ethically trained. You know, maybe they trained on copyrighted material to create this. I don't know how they were created, but it is the best AI music model in the world. And that's how you create high quality movie score instrumental. Okay, so let's imagine if I want to understand how Suno works, like how it was trained. I could go to Claude AI and we could actually generate a research report. Fix the spelling in just a second. I want to know how these models are trained and created, and then we can use that same prompt that we were using earlier, the first principles thinker, and we can run this. And we're going to take this research report and we're actually going to create a slide deck with AI. And for this, we're going to be using Gamma, which is becoming one of my favorite tools that I use very frequently when I don't want to use this like whiteboard style presentations. I generally use Gamma. And so it is done. And if we just copy this and we go to gamma.app and we can paste in text and we can just paste in the report right here, and we can generate from notes or an outline, continue to prompt editor. And this will take us to a page where we can I want to do shorten to be condensed and presentable. And we can choose the theme. We can pick the exact theme that we want to use. I'm going to go ahead and choose, let's go ahead and use this one right here. We can select this theme. And here it shows that it's going to be 4 cards total. Okay, so we can give it additional instructions. We can have AI generated images. We can choose which model. We can choose Nano Banana Pro, add extra keywords. Okay, so here we can do minimal infographics for the images, have a lot of them, and here we can generate. And so now we are creating a presentation with AI using Gamma. And this is our 38th use case. So we're generating slide deck. And as you can see here, we can watch it being created. The AI generated images are being generated at the same time. You can see here, it is all working. This is very cool. Let's see how the images turn out. So I'm not sure how these images were generated, but it's really easy to edit this. And so what I can do is I can hit edit image, and we can change the prompt, and we can use Nano Banana Pro. Looks like we have 10 of these left. This will use a lot of credits. Okay, so what we can do is we can just say infographic showing how AI generated music models were trained. And we can just hit, let's go ahead and just run this. And so now it's done. And so it generated 4 of these. And I actually like this one the most. What we can do here is we can actually add this. So I believe, yeah, and so we can place this image in here. We can change the focal point to just a little bit lower right here. And there you go. Now we have this slide deck and we have images. I can edit these images right here. And this is just a very easy and simple way to create a slide deck. It's very easy to change the theme. Now that I'm looking at this one's kind of boring, but you can just change the theme. I kind of like this one. This matches our company's colors. And so you can just create these slide decks, and it's very easy to present these. You can go to the next slide, and it's pretty fun to use. And okay, so for the final 10, I want to kind of really quickly go over all of the different use cases, right? We did some chat applications. We did speech to text with Whispr Flow. We created diagrams. We created a little game simulation landing page. We got a taste of vibe coding a little bit. We generated a bunch of images. We just did like 15 straight image and video applications. And then we talked about system prompts, which I'll get to in a second. Once again, we talked about sound. So basically sound, and then research and slide decks. And finally, we're gonna get to kind of this vibe coding section, and we can kind of move this down here. And so this vibe coding section, in my opinion, brings it all together, brings all these possibilities together. And what I mean by this is vibe coding, in my eyes, is a lot like prompt engineering, except it's visual. So I think it's like visual prompt engineering, where you actually create an experience with software. And I'm just gonna go through a bunch of different examples of this. So the first example is, this is a voice notes app. So we just added paywalls. And so this is actually one thing that you can do with AI, is you can create an app with a paywall so you actually can charge people, which is really, really cool. And so that is 40. And so I literally created this. The only thing that you need to do to create a paywall is within the Vibecode app. Within the Vibecode app, all you need to do is go to the Payments tab, and then you just need to press one single button, and this will direct you on how to set up a paywall. And so this is a full mobile app that you can launch to the App Store. And I literally mean this. Like, you can literally click this button right here, which copies this prompt. You can paste in, create a monthly subscription for $4.99. I chose $9.99, but then I can literally publish this to the App Store. And so with AI is you can build an app, then send it to the App Store, and this is all possible with vibecode.dev. And then remember this prompt that we created earlier? I can just copy this whole prompt right here. And let's say we don't even want to use Anthropic, but we copied it from the console. And what we can do is we can create a new app. And so we can use Claude 4 Opus. And I'm going to say, I want you to create a chat app called Prince Chat. This is a chat app that explains topics in first principles. Don't add the chat functionality yet. We will add that next. And so we're using Claude Opus 4.5. I'm going to enable the backend so we can build a full database. Please set this up to store all relevant data in the database. Don't set up auth for now. Just have this be one single chat that I can clear that stores all of the messages. We don't need auth for now. And so what we're doing here is we're creating an app, and this is now being initiated. If I refresh it on my phone, by the way, I'm signed into the Vibecode app on my phone, and we're using Vibecode app right here on web as well. So these stay perfectly in sync. And so we can see that Prince Chat is being created. And so now we have our app being created. Now we're just going to wait. But while we wait, what we can do is we can actually set up the next feature. And so I actually want to use Grok 4. I think it's better at thinking in first principles. And I'm going to say, please use this API. And when I say API, I mean that almost all of these use cases right here, you can find the API, or at least a similar API, and integrate it. You can integrate Whispr Flow into your app. You can create diagrams in your app with something called mermaid diagrams, and it's very easy for AI to generate them, right? You can create all these use cases. You can use all of these image use cases in Krea can be found on the API. Like, you can find the APIs and use them directly and integrate them into your app. With the Vibecode app, and other vibe coding tools in general, what it allows you to do is it allows you to just use APIs directly. And instead of needing to go to Grok to get an API key, you can just use Grok through the vibe code app and you actually don't need the API. Please use this API to create this character that I chat with. Don't use Anthropic. Please use Grok's. This is just the system prompt. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually not going to paste this whole thing in. I'm actually just going to paste in the system prompt right here. And we can just copy this right here. And I'm going to paste that in. And now we are going to send this to Claude 4.5 Opus. And now we have this in the queue. So after our app is done generating a front end to our app here, it's then going to set up the back end with the Grok 4 API. And so we are able to build mobile app front end, build mobile app back end with auth, and we can add APIs/integrations. So APIs/integrations to our mobile app. And I'm going to just wait for these to finish. And so it's not done yet. It's still running. This is going to take a little bit, but if you notice here, we can create the cloud. And so you can see here that we have this database viewer, and we can view all of the data for the app, which is insanely cool. Okay, so it appears like the app is done. I'm pulling out my phone right now. Here we have Prince Chat. I can say, explain how pizza is. Prince is thinking. Boom, wow. Hello, I'm Prince for First Principles. As you can see here, we created a chat app. Let me open this back up. We created a chat app, and let's see if the cloud works here. So if we go into cloud, we open up this side panel. We do. This is stored. We didn't add any authentications yet, but we basically just created this right here. And so here we see explain how pizza is, and so this is from the user. Here is from the assistant, and it shows when it is created at, and it's probably ordered by when it was created. And so we've created this database, and so we can actually see this right here. I can say explain galaxies, and if we were to refresh, we should have 4 entries. There we go. I put explain galaxies. Hello, I'm Prince. This is really, really cool. And yeah, and so we created a system prompt. If you remember earlier, up at the beginning of this section, we generated with a system prompt, and we kind of refined the system prompt until we liked it. And then we copied the system prompt into the Vibe Code app, and we created a mobile app that uses it, and it integrated the cloud, and we did this basically in a single prompt. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to redesign the app. And so what I want to do is I want to create a cool logo. So we can go to the image tab, and I'm going to make sure icon is turned on, and I'm going to do 3D render of a purple crown with white border and gold crown cartoon icon. So I'm going to copy this whole thing. We're going to generate this right here. We're going to generate a bunch of these. And look at this. These images are coming in. Look at these. So I'm trying to decide if I like, actually I don't like this one as much. I'm actually going to select, actually this one might be kind of cool. And so we can just add this to the prompt. Please use this as the logo on the top left. Please also make the UI a little better. Make the input messages not purple background, but gray background, like texting, and make the logo on the AI response this one. And so what we can do is we can go back to that image tab, and maybe we want to make it this one right here for that. And so we can now add this to the prompt. And so this will very quickly make a change to our app. We can very easily redesign our app just like this. And one thing that we can also do is we can generate audio. And we can say light little loading noise. And I'm just going to generate a bunch of these. I want to find like a little loading noise for when the AI starts to think. Okay. I actually kind of like this one. So we can actually add this to the prompt. While the AI is loading, play this noise at 40% volume right when the AI starts thinking. This is a nice loading noise. As you can see here, the app just updated right here. You can see that we now have this new logo up here in the top left, and then we have that other logo right here, and my messages are still right here. And so we created this user interface, and now we're adding sound effects. Another thing that we can do while this is loading is we can actually add haptics, and this is much better on the phone. So again, these are in perfect sync. All of these tabs on the left here are also in the bottom tab, so you can very easily just add like haptics right here. And so you can actually feel it on the phone when you hit play here, and I really love this soft impact. And so I'm going to add this haptic soft, and I'm going to say when I press enter to enter a message, use this haptic. And so this is just a little vibration that goes off on the phone. You won't be able to see it, but we're going to add this haptic and we'll see how it does. And so basically we just added images, we added sounds, we added haptics. Now what I want to show you is the precision editing with select using AI as well. Okay, so we can actually select in our app here. So on the phone, what you can do is you can go to the select tab right here, and it'll start off in navigation mode. And what you can do here is you can actually change it to select mode, and we can select this, like you can select this whole part up here. We can select this whole chat, but I want to select this up here. As you can see here, it's selected. Now we can hit done, and we can actually see the code for that element if we click on it. I'm going to say, please make this not this icon, instead make it the 3 dots, and make it open options in a modal. Delete should be an option. Please add 2 more buttons and options, but not the functionality for those yet. And so there you go. What else did we do? We added a sound. Let's see where we are here. Where are we? Yeah, so we added a haptic, and we also added a sound, I believe. Let's see if we have the sound. Oops. So it's still loading. Let's say, explain toast to me. Let's see if we have that sound. Ooh, and we have the haptic. I felt the haptic as well. And again, this all should be stored in the cloud. It is stored in the database, as you can see right here. If I were to copy this whole thing, the whole message is stored in here. For whatever reason, I can't copy it, but this is the entire message right here. So it is stored in the database. And that select element edit just came in. As you can see here, it no longer has the trash icon. It has these 3 dots, and these show up in a little pop-up right here. As you can see, we have share chat, export chat, and clear chat. I wonder what clear chat would do. But as you can see here, right, it is kind of we kind of have this bug where the chat is above the clear chat. And so what I can do here is I can actually screenshot this. And what I can do is I can draw on the screen, which is kind of nice. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just save this to my photos. I'm going to pinch. We're going to go to the image tab. We're going to upload an image, right? So we're using a reference image here. So we are using a reference image to make an edit/debug, and we can go back to the other screen. And so we can just select this, and we can say, please use a different type of modal. This one sucks and is being covered by the chat. Make it center peak. So we can enter that right there. I want it to just be a big center pop-up right here in the center of the screen. And it looks like it just made an update. There you go. Look at this. It's still making an update. But as you can see here, what happens if we hit clear chat? Are you sure you want to clear all messages? Clear. Okay, so this just cleared all the messages. Let's go to the cloud and hit refresh. All right, so it literally deleted all of the messages. So that is a really that's an interesting feature. I wouldn't probably do that. I would probably just have like a show. I would probably have it have like showed or yes or no, make it a Boolean. And you could specify that, right? Like we could probably change that in our app if we asked. We say, I want it to be saved in the database, but in this case, it just deletes it from the database, which is fine for a little transitory app that you want to send to some friends, which I think is really fun. But we just built this app, and I think it's kind of fun. And again, once we're done, all you have to do is set it up to your Apple developer account, and you can just publish it to the App Store. And of course, with the API tab, right, if you go to the API tab here, you can see that a lot of the different functionality that we've been talking about today, these are all things that you can very easily add to your app. You can add Nano Banana to your app, and you can say exactly how you want to do it, right? You can add a bunch of different types of data. You can add audio. You can add video, right? Sora 2. You could add Google VO 3.1 if you wanted to, and you can create an app with all of these different technologies, and you can add them directly to your app, and you can do this with web apps as well. And so this is just a really quick overview of 50 use cases of different things that you can do with AI, and we kind of summed it up by kind of using some of these abilities within a mobile app. And I think I'm going to do a part 2 of this video in a couple months, and we're going to do 100 use cases, except it's all going to be centered around vibe coding. And if that's something that might interest you in the future, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys here for the next video.